welcome to Africa Side, where ideas take shape, thoughts find out, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest, one of his advocacy redefining mental health. How can an AI can make therapy accessible, compassionate, and human again? And of course, founder of AI Therapy, bridging CBT and artificial intelligence to help millions heal, none other than Mr. Ali
Hey,
Yilmaz.
thank you. Thank you, Daniel. That was a very good introduction.
Welcome, Mr. Ali on Abstract Essay. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
hmm So, yeah, I'm Ali. I'm Turkish, as you see from my name. I'm an engineer turned entrepreneur. I was born in Turkey, lived there for 22 years, and moved to the United States for my master's degree. And I have been living in Vegas, Las Vegas, for the last 5 years. And I was lucky to work in some great tech companies as a product manager in a very young age. So I'm always like a curious guy. I like to know why things happening, and I like to know the core reasons of what we are doing, why we are doing. And I guess that was the start of the AI therapy too. We can talk more about it, but that's also the core of your podcast too. So I was excited to join you and talk about how CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and AI can mix and make mental health support more accessible, more affordable, and stigma free for a lot of people.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Ali. Thank you. So let's start with the central question. Can a language model which operates on pattern prediction without consciousness ever
Mhm.
truly be said to care? Or are we simply designing a perfect mirror for a human need to feel
Mhm.
understood?
Mhm. Yeah, because I don't think AI is never going to be sad or never going to be happy or never going to have any feelings. But the core thing of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, the good thing is it doesn't, like the AI in this case, doesn't have to need to be sad, doesn't have to be happy for you, or doesn't have to understand you fully. What we are trying to do with AI therapy, that AI CBT coach approach, is in the structure of cognitive behavioral therapy, it is a static method. So it has a basic framework that help people to help themselves restructure their thinking, ask them the right questions to think for themselves, not really tell them what they have to think or not really tell them what they have to feel, but ask them the right questions for them to think for themselves. So that's why there's like a not a misconception, but a big understanding of the therapist have to give you the answer. And that is basically not true, especially for the cognitive behavioral therapy. And AI is not able to care, AI is not able to feel sad, but AI is able to ask you the right question for you to think about your thoughts, your feelings, and your ideas. Does that sound like more of a different shape than what
Mhm.
therapy actually stands in a lot of people's minds?
Mr. Ali, if an AI can perfectly mimic the language of empathy, validating feelings, reflecting
Mhm.
statements, and expressing concern, does the illusion of care have
Mhm.
therapeutic value, even if the care is not real?
Mhm. So I guess the empathy, like what empathy is in a human and what empathy is in AI, is a different thing. And I don't think we expect or we believe that AI is going to have an empathy like a human, and that empathy is not needed for cognitive behavioral therapy or a CBT coach to help somebody. But in terms of the AI's empathy, it comes from the consistency and clarity, like not from a human voice or not from a shared feeling. So it's a different type of empathy.
Hmm. Interesting, Mr. Ali. And a core tenet of a therapy is the authentic, shared human experience between
Hmm.
therapies and client. What is
Hmm.
lost if the human connection is replaced even by
Hmm.
perfectly alternative and non-judgmental AI?
Hmm. I guess a lot would be lost if we put the therapist out of the equation and just put the AI. I don't think AI therapy in its core is stand for let's replace all the therapists with AI. AI therapy in its core is stand for let's give people who doesn't have means, it can be money, time, availability, stigma, bias, to go to therapy, have a way to talk about their feelings with a science-backed, proven cognitive behavioral therapist, coach, let's say. So what we are trying to do is not really replacing the human in the equation. We are trying to give a resource for a lot of people that doesn't have means to reach a therapist. Does that make sense? Like,
Makes sense. Makes sense.
mhm,
Mr. Ali, most especially for the remote places in the world. So tell us, how is the trust of a patient places in an
mhm,
AI different from the trust earned in of a relationship with the human therapist who has
mhm,
genuine vulnerability and shared stakes in the outcome?
mhm. Yeah, I guess that is also an interesting thing. But like in a lot of points, AI has disadvantages. But in terms of trust, it sounds like kind of weird. But AI have an advantage here because most of the thing I see when we talk with our customers are they trust a computer more than a human, and that is coming from um, the idea that somebody is going to judge me if I go to a therapist and talk to someone that I don't know, I just met, and I'm paying, I don't know, hundreds of dollars for her to listen to me, and she probably has her own world idea, world bias. Then when I talk with her and I talk with that therapist, she's not really gonna understand me, or she's gonna judge me, or some other thing. But AI doesn't have that feeling for humans, and I guess it has like two kinds. One is the privacy, and one is that trust feeling. We're gonna talk about the privacy too, but first, that trust is can be actually better with AI than a human, especially in the first time talking. Like it takes time to get used to a therapist. It takes time to be comfortable with a therapist, and that time is way smaller, way uh, shorter with AI. And in terms of privacy, what we are doing in AI therapy is there's something called HIPAA. So it is basically what medical institution use to protect the patient's knowledge, and it's the same thing that therapists do. It's basically keeping the data uh, consolidated and not sharing with anybody and keeping it safe. So that's exactly what we are doing with AI therapy too. Any information shared with AI therapy is not used for training the model, is not used for any advertisement, is not used for anything other than keeping the continuity of the user's chat. So on two part, like trust about opening up, I believe AI has an advantage here. And on the privacy part, uh, we are like I can talk just for the AI therapy. We are following the same HIPAA standards that you would get in a therapist office. So your data, your information is secure as as it would be in a therapist office. Would you
In
be comfortable talking to AI or Would you be more comfortable talking to a human in the first session?
We can talk both if you are interested to it, Mr. Ali. So let's talk about how can AI can lacks through situational awareness.
Hmm.
And
Can
yes,
can you what?
how can AI lacks the true situational awareness, assess
Hmm.
and respond to a crisis such as
Hmm.
suicidal ideation and or domestic violence? What are the
Hmm.
ethical implications of deploying systems that they have
Hmm.
failed to these most of critical moments?
Yeah, I guess that is the most vulnerable part of AI. When somebody comes with a suicidal thought, what AI therapy is going to do? And the best solution we have and we are doing right now is leading them to suicide hotlines, leading them to their local call centers, leading them to therapists. Because at the end of the day, we can't really do anything at that time. But what we can do is show them the way to suicide hotline. And what we can do here is trying to understand if the user talking with AI therapy has these tendencies, has these um ideas. And AI is relatively good in this, actually, to understand if user has uh, some things that AI therapy is not going to be able to help. And when that happens, AI therapy is not saying to trying to help the user, just trying to show the user more secure lines of help, like the suicide hotline for suicide or domestic violence hotline for domestic violence.
Mr. Ali, tell us often even developers don't know
Hmm.
exactly why AI generates a specific response. How can we
Hmm.
ensure informed consent when the mind of the therapist is fundamentally instructable?
Hmm. So, what is your question here? Can you ask
So
the question again?
how
Hmm.
can we ensure informed consent when the mind of a therapist is fundamentally instructable like the one you are
Hmm.
building right now?
Yeah. So the main thing is, again, like, we are not replacing the therapist completely with AI therapy. AI therapy is gonna be not gonna have the exact relationship as therapist client relationship. It is a different type of relationship than what a human therapist can give, and it is on in terms of empathy, in terms of thinking like a human. It has disadvantages, that is for sure. And what we are trying to do is we are trying not to advertise things that AI really can't do. So AI can't be doing the therapy in terms of that licensed therapy thing. But AI can be a CBT coach, can do cognitive behavioral therapy. And cognitive behavioral therapy in its core is a static method. So it doesn't need to have a human scale thinking or human scale empathy.
Mr. Ali, tell us. Proponents
Mhm.
say AI can democratize therapy, making it
Mhm.
available 24/7 to those who can't afford or access human care. Does
Mhm.
this potential benefit outweigh the philosophical and risk based concerns?
What do you think the philosophical concerns are?
Like it's available 24/7,
Mhm.
so is it replaceable by human, or is still there that we need human instead of an AI
Mhm.
bot?
So I believe we need human therapists for every human in the world. But the reality is, there is no human therapist for even 1 in 100 people in the world, and most of the people are not able to afford or not able to uh, make the first session. It can be for, again, price, availability, stigma, bias, or any other thing. But it is very hard to sit in that therapy chair today. So I believe, philosophically, if this is the true word, is AI therapy is doing good for the world by letting almost everybody who has access to a computer to talk about their feelings in a science-backed 24/7 tool. So it definitely outweighs the negative sides of what AI therapy can do. But I'm not sure what is the philosophical concerns. That's an interesting question. Philosophical concerns. So what would be the philosophical concerns? Would be like with AI, would we just extinct human therapists? I don't think so. But what do you think is the philosophical concerns? That's an interesting topic to
Mm-hmm.
maybe go deeper.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Ali, could AI therapy serve as a positive gateway, this destigmatizing mental health support and
Hmm.
encouraging people to eventually seek human help?
Yes, because we actually have some users that started with AI therapy and went to human therapist or human psychiatrist after starting with AI therapy, because the thing that AI therapy does is not giving you the final solution, not giving the best therapy experience you can ever get in the world, but it makes you start talking. And this is a very big thing for the 99% of the world that is not able to afford to go to a therapist. And if we can make those people start talking, then some of them actually go to a human therapist because now they understand some of their thinking patterns. Now they understand what is negative about their thinking patterns. And now they understand the therapy is not some kind of a bad thing or some kind of something that they can't reach, or some kind of like, I guess a lot of people that I see is thinking therapy as a luxury service. And if they're not thinking as a luxury service, they think as the therapist is a biased human being. And AI therapy actually helped them kind of break those doors, because now they understand the therapy is not about the luxury, not about the money, not about the biases, but about themselves. And they started thinking about themselves. They started opening up about their thoughts, emotions, and actions. So definitely yes. And we have users that actually went to therapy after using AI therapy, and they still use AI therapy between sessions. And some of them can't really afford to go to therapy, but when they go on and off, they still use AI therapy between those times.
Mr. Ali, therapeutic conversations are the ultimate in private data. How can we
Mhm.
protect users' most intimate thoughts from being exploited, sold, or hacked,
Mhm.
especially when the business model of many tech
Mhm.
companies is data driven?
Mhm. Yeah, I guess that's the big thing on all the mental health products, and that's why since the first day we are aligning ourselves with the HIPAA. So HIPAA is basically called like the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, I guess. And this basically, for example, when you go to a therapist, you have your data in their computers too, in their files too. So to make them secure, basically United States government says that okay, you have to follow these rules. You can't share that data, then they share that customers' information with anybody. You have to keep them in a secure location that can't be reached from outside. and nobody in your business can read them without authorization. So that's exactly what we are doing with AI therapy too. Every customer interaction in AI therapy is uh, private through keeping them just in their own instances and not using for training the model. So that is the basic thing for the tech companies, that they use data to make their models better. But that's exactly what we are not doing to keep the AI therapy different, and also not using that data for any marketing purposes. The Like, it can be for advertisement, it can be for any other stuff. But AI therapy and its customer data is just used to have the continuity in the chats. And I guess this comes down to that standards that we follow. And in terms of AI therapy, we focus on that high BAS standards to be as secure as a therapist of it. And I believe we are doing a good job in that part too.
In the most ethical future of or for
Mm-hmm.
AI in therapy, not as a replacement, but as a tool
Mm-hmm.
for therapists handling intake, teaching CBT skills, or providing
Mm-hmm.
between session support with the human managing the
Mm-hmm.
relationship and complex care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, therapist intake. I don't think that it's going to be like what we are doing is about the intake part, but it is definitely the psychoeducation part. We have a lot of psychoeducation in AI therapy too, because it's kind of in the nature of CBT too. To When somebody is talking with AI therapy or with a human CBT therapist, the therapist has to explain the patient about how she is thinking, what she is thinking, and the link between her, like what you think, how you feel, and what you do. So I not the intake, but definitely psychoeducation is a good place for AI to perform. Because, for example, with a human therapist, let's say you go to a human therapist and you have 50-minute session every week. Between those sessions, everybody have a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions about why they do what they do, how they think, why they think what they think. And AI can be a perfect uh, companion to explain, to provide psychoeducation between the sessions, I believe.
Mr. Ali, the commodification of care. If we
Mhm.
accept AI therapy, are we implicitly accepting that care is commodity that can be automated?
Care is commodity that can be automated. I wish all
Hmm.
the care in the world can be automated. That would be the goal, to make it accessible to everybody. Because like today's situation, for example, today's study COVID, the mental health care, the therapy is not expensive because therapists are evil people. Therapy is expensive because there are less therapists than the people who want to get to therapy, and it's hard to become therapists. It's hard to have those systems. I believe there is a great opportunity with especially the new AI wave, not just in the mental health, but in every part of the care. It can be for a physical care, it can be for uh, any kind of physical, mental, uh, or any kind of care that's given to humans, that AI can automate or make it easier. Like, it doesn't have to automate from 0 to 100. It doesn't have to automate all the way. But if it can make it easier for humans in some parts, then it is going to make things cheaper for a lot of people. It is going to make things easier for a lot of people. Like, I don't think AI therapy is going to be known by everybody in the world, and that doesn't mean therapists are going to lose their jobs. Or if there would be a automated way of some other care, like some even physical care. I guess that Elon Musk was talking about that like 2 days ago. He was talking about the Optimus can do the surgeries in the future, and it would be very precise because the robot can do stuff. Even there would be hundreds of Optimus doing surgeries, you're still going to need human doctors to lead them in that surgery part. And for the AI therapy, for the mental health, even AI therapy would be very big and everybody would know of it. There is still going to be a need for human therapists. And what AI therapy is doing is not going to replace them, but help them. And I believe so. I told a lot of not answering the question, but probably automating it as much as we can, if the results are good, is a good thing rather than a bad thing.
In a good thing indeed. And where do we draw the line, Mr. Ali?
Mhm,
Is an AI for managing mild anxiety ethically different from one guiding someone through complex trauma or grief?
mhm. So, for specifically mental health care, I believe that is the line stays between what AI can do and what AI can't do. What we are trying, what we are working hard on, one point is that AI therapy understands when there is a deep trauma that AI therapy cannot really do anything good. So it leads them to a therapist, like a real human therapist or some other health lines that the user can uh, benefit. So where is the line? I don't know where is the line, but I don't think AI yet is able to cure that deep trauma. And for example, in AI therapy, if somebody would talk today and show the signs of deep trauma, AI therapy is not gonna keep talking and just gonna lead them to a local therapist. But it is for today. So I don't know. In 1 year, maybe we are gonna be able to solve this, and maybe AI therapy is gonna be able to give a better experience for a deep trauma too. So that's why I can't say there is the line, because that line can change tomorrow.
Interesting, Mr. Ali. And
Mhm,
what is the ethical responsibility of the engineers and designers building these
mhm,
systems? Should they require to have a training and clinical ethics?
mhm. So that is a very interesting thing and also very exciting thing. When we are working, the laws and regulations are also being made at the same time too. So we are really in the cutting edge. Like it is both very dangerous and an exciting place to work on. And what I believe is every engineer, if they are working in the mental health space, every engineer, every designer, everybody who is touching the product has to have an understanding of what they are doing. Because creating an AI for mental health and creating an AI for automating email marketing is two very different things. And if the same engineer would be working on both systems, the results wouldn't be good for both of them without understanding. So I definitely believe that whoever is touching the product has to have an understanding and responsibility of what they are building, even though it's not directly in their field. What they are doing still affecting the end product. For example, in AI therapy, all of our engineers are talking with the therapists when they are working about something. Our therapist advisors, when they are working about something, when they are changing anything on the product side, even the from the color of a button to how a page loads, how AI evaluates one situation is not just decided by the engineers, but decided by engineers and therapists at the same time. So at the end of the day, actually, engineer is just the enabler who has to understand why he is doing what he is doing. So definitely has to be uh, training, and more than a training, understanding of what they are doing.
Mr. Ali, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 at fourth season, science 101, and sex 101 in its second season, and my baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you
Cool.
listen your podcast. So, Mr. Ali, tell us, sleeping or what do you call this, stepping back from the details, what is the
Mhm.
core human need in therapy that we must protect at all costs, and how do we ensure that need is met, whether by
Mhm.
human, machine, or hybrid of both?
Mhm. I believe the core need is understanding yourself in the therapy. Like a lot of people says being understood, but I don't think it's complete saying being understood. It's being understood by yourself is the thing. Like I don't care if some other guy would understand what I go through. I have to understand myself and why I think what I think. That's how I can start to act on it. And that's the core of cognitive behavioral therapy. So being understood by yourself.
Well, Mr. Ali Illness, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or anything you want to promote on Abstract Essay?
Oh, right now you want me? So, uh,
Yes, please do tell them to
oh, okay.
visit
Yeah,
your
okay, yeah. They
website.
can visit the website aitherapy.care, and they can start talking with AI therapy for free without even sign up. They can click that start talking button at the top. They can just start talking without the sign up, and they can also find my email there. Just email me whatever your questions, ideas, feedback. Talk to me.
Yes, will you be my guest on Mental Health 101, and let's talk about this
Of course, I was just
great.
gonna ask it. Like, why didn't you invite me for the mental health 101? Like, yeah.
Will be next. Okay, stay tuned, people. Mr. Ali will be my regular guest on Mental Health 101. So,
Okay.
Multicom people, see you soon.